Good morning, my beautiful soul followers. Hope everyone is starting their morning out on a good note. I'm sitting here with my candle and in a really weird place in my home. So I'm actually technically on my kitchen counters. I was watching the moon. There's a window and you can see the moon and you can see the sunset coming in at the same time, or sunrise. I haven't had enough coffee yet, obviously. You can see the sunrise and you can see the moon as well. So it's always a really cool space to sit. But my kitchen counters and my amazing window is not what this video is this morning. But like I said, I just woke up a little while ago, did my morning routine, drinking some coffee. And before I got my day started, I really wanted to jump on here and do a little bit of a video on my article the other day. I did an article by the same name, Sins of the Sensual Woman or the Sexual Woman. I don't remember which it was, but Sins of the Sexual Woman. And it was about a date I went on quite a few days ago now. So I went on this date, and it was a good date. We talked, but there just wasn't any clicking. There was not really the energy. He was a nice guy generally. There's a couple things that I was like, that's not for me, But generally we had a good time, and then afterwards I said, I just don't feel like this is clicking. I don't feel like there's much between us. Loved the conversation, really enjoyed it, but I don't feel like it would be right for us to continue this on to another date because I'm really just not feeling it. And he then proceeded to tell me that he didn't think it was a good fit either because I speak about sex with people for my job. That's part of my job. It's not my entire job. I deal with energy. I deal with a lot of mental growth and really living that life and embodying that orgasmic energy. And in truth, just being a better human, loving more, relationships, all this beautiful stuff I talk about. But he said, because I talk about sex with people, and because I'm so wild, because I've had some sexual experiences, like hello, can't be a sex coach if you've not had any sexual experiences. It's like, that would be a complicated one. And so, because I'm so wild, that I would not make a good mother or a wife. And I kind of looked at it and it actually didn't bother me. I'm like, well, that's that man's skew. That's that man's skew. And I'm not going to fight with him. I know who I am and what kind of mother and wife I can be. But the fact is, it was his idea because it really stirred my thoughts surrounding some of my clients that I've had in the past. Because I do get male clients that come to me and they're like, well, I want this kind of woman. And they will either tell me they want this woman that is super sexual, that is really playful, that has all these beautiful qualities, is orgasmically filled up. My cat's going to join me. Hold on. Don't burn your tail. So once is orgasmically filled up. So men will tell me all the time they want this woman that's orgasmically filled up, but when they get her, what ends up happening is she can be too much for them. She can be way too much because then she's playful, she's filled with energy, she is magnetic to everyone. And so a lot of times I will talk with guys about, do you really want what you're asking for? Because they go, oh no, I want my ex-wife was really not into sex, really didn't want things. But then when they get the woman who is hungry and is ravenous and is like, no, I want sex all the time, or I want to explore, they get really, really uncomfortable once they're in that position. So my first lesson today is not just for men, but to really look at what you're truly wanting and if you really can handle it in your relationships. We ask for a lot of things that when we get it, we don't actually want it. It's not really what we're looking for. It's out of our comfort zones. But then my bigger message really today has nothing to do with dating. Hold on, coffee break. It really has nothing to do with dating. It really has to do with looking at how you, and those around you look at sex. Look at sexual energy. Because we like to look at sex as something that's sinful, whether you believe in whatever your belief system is. And I get people go, no, I have no shame around my sex. I don't believe it's sinful. But guess what? This is something that's been ingrained in our society. It's not just, do you believe that you're going to hell because you had, sex before you were married? It goes much deeper than that. This is something that has been ingrained in our society, that sex equals sin or wildness or craziness. When my date said wild, I kind of laughed because, and I told a friend and she chuckled too, because that is probably the last thing anybody would describe me as is wild. There's many things. Anal retentive, yep, that would be it. Emotional, yep, that would be one. Wild. Playful, yes. Wild, no. But anyway. But it really is looking at how you look at sex and your sexual energy. Because the fact is, I can look at my years before I was a Tantric Practitioner and sex coach and did all the things that I did, because I first started as a hardcore just Tantric Practitioner before I moved into sex coaching, and then before my business really has expanded way beyond just straight up sex coaching. But when I first started, I can remember right before that point when I really wasn't in tune with my sexual energy, when I wasn't really using it, how dead and flat I was, and how I look at other women and I look at people in my lives and clients, and you can tell a woman that isn't filled. You can tell a man that's not filled too, but you can very much tell a woman that's not filled. And I can tell you, I was less connected to God, and I'm going to say God, but I was way less connected to God when I was disconnected from my sex. When I was disconnected from that beautiful, passionate, powerful energy that is my sex, I was not as close to my spirituality. I was not as close to God. I did not look into the world with the level of light that I look into it now. And I can tell you, watching clients really step into not just their sexual energy, but their energy as a whole, but really removing the shame from their sex, really embodying it. I'm not saying going and having and being wild and having all these threesomes and crazies, not that threesomes always have to be crazy, but going and having all this crazy sex is not what I'm talking about here. It's talking about literally breathing into your genitals, really embodying that energy, really using it in your daily life to feed you, to connect with your other energy points, and then to thus connect and ground more in this world, in our spiritual connections. So I watch my clients expand, not just, yes, their ability to show up in the bedroom and connect in the bedroom. Yeah, that's beautiful. I love when I get a client that comes back and they're like, Addison, I had the most beautiful night with my wife or husband. Like, we really connected. Like, I felt I had an orgasm like I've never experienced. I started crying and I had just this beautiful release of energy, trauma, and all this stuff that's been held in my body. That is amazing for me to hear. But it's just as amazing for me to hear is that they went to work and all of a sudden they felt powerful and they really tapped into their energy. They felt passionate, and now they're getting creative and really embodying that energy. And that energy thus allows them to open up to their spirituality, to others, their heart center. And so when we look at sex and we have these underlying, because a lot of times they are underlying. A lot of people these days won't go, no, sex equals sin. That's, our society has changed to a degree where we don't necessarily jump straight to that, but it's still underlying belief system of many, as evidenced by this man who thought because I talk about sex with people, I couldn't be a good wife. That had to equal me lying and cheating and, I don't know what else, because I'm not going to jump into his mind. But the fact is, we still have these underlying belief systems in our society. And so it is to really look at, you're not going to change everybody else, but to look at your true belief systems around sex and embodying sex. Do you look at somebody who maybe is dressed really conservative and be like, they can't be sexy, they're not sexual just because of how they're dressed? Because we can do it in the opposite too. We can turn people into either the virgin or the whore. We turn people either into this or this. I hear women all the time when they get pregnant and after they've had kids, they will tell me, Addison, now my husband treats me as a mom instead of a sexual woman that wants to still have that same level of connection with him. I've suddenly turned into a mom instead of his wife. And this is actually really quite common. So, to stop some of that, to really move into our own sex at a deeper level, it is important for us to look at those underlying belief systems and go, am I judging people based on this virgin whore kind of complex? Am I looking at women as either, you're a mother figure, you're like this virginal, beautiful, like nothing could, you have no sexual anything? Or are you putting them in this category of the whore, the playful one, the wild one, the wild woman? Guess what? These archetypes live in everybody, in every man, every woman. They're different for men, but these archetypes we are a conglomeration of them. And so to get out of those archetypes and to really look at people and go, what are my beliefs about sex? Do I believe that truly embodying the sexual energy is sinful? Or do I believe that it actually gets me closer to my spirituality, to God, to just my energy as a whole, if you're not somebody who is as big religious or believes in God? I'm not going to tell you what to believe here, but I am going to ask you to look at yourself and question yourself to go, do I really at my core believe that sex is sinful? Do I think do I get a niggle like when somebody is making sexual jokes? Am I like, oh, that's so dirty, or that's so, like, do I still get into that teenage energy? Because guess what? That same teenage giggly, like, shameful energy, that's the energy that this all comes from. It is the same energy. It's that underlying shame, that underlying we're not supposed to be talking about this energy. So today, all that to say is I want you to really look at your belief systems around sex. And if you believe that sex is only in the bedroom, then I also question you on that. Because my teachings are all about how we have an orgasmic life, we have an orgasmic frequency, and that we embody all of our energies But we don't leave out our sex either. We embody all of our energies to live our best lives. And so if you believe that sex is just bedroom, if you believe orgasmic energy is just in the bedroom, I also challenge you on that one. So I also challenge you to enjoy your coffee and enjoy your day today. I didn't think it was going to get that serious. I was like, I'll go do a light candlelight conversation this morning. But hopefully you got something out of that. Hopefully it started stirring some thoughts for you. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I love when you guys contact me and go, hey, here's what I thought. Here's what kind of came up for me. You don't always have to write in the comments. If you don't feel comfortable writing in the comments, feel free to message me privately, and when I get to them, I will respond. Other than that, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. I have some beautiful workshops happening in Plano, Texas, in the next few months. So next month I have a Galentine's Day event, and then in March I have I think it's like 6th or 7th annual oral intimacies class, which is one of my favorites because it's just fun, it's playful. So go check all that out. And as always, if you want to work with me one-on-one, if you want to get your sexual energy up, if you want to not just have orgasms in the bedroom, but have orgasms in the boardroom, in the grocery store, if you really want to embody that energy, then reach out to me at Addison Bell and we can talk. We can talk about how to up-level your life. All right, guys, I love you, and I will talk to you soon for another Addison Unleashed.